I think we first go through the verse. So if everybody has the verse ready, we will recite that together. Yam imam pushpitam vacham pravadanta avipashchitaha vedavatarataha partha nanyadastiti vadinaha kamatmanah svargapara janma karma phala pradam kriya vishesha bahulam bhogaishvarya gatim prati. So we go by word for word. If you can repeat after me, please. Yam imam, all these. Pushpitam, flowery. Vacham, words. Pravadanti, say. Avipashchitaha, men with a poor fund of knowledge. Vedavatarataha, supposed followers of the Vedas. Partha, O son of Pritha. Na, never. Anyat, anything else. Asti, there is. Iti, thus. Vadinaha, the advocates. Kama atmanaha, desirous of sense gratification. Svarga paraha, aiming to achieve heavenly planets. Janma karma phala pradam, resulting in good birth and other fruitive reactions. Kriya Vishesha, pompous ceremonies. Bahulam, various. Bhoga, incense enjoyment. Aishvarya, and opulence. Gatim, progress. Prati, towards. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakta-Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki. Men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets, resultant good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than this. Please repeat after me. Men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets, resultant good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than this. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. People in general are not very intelligent, and due to their ignorance, they are most attached to the fruitive activities recommended in the Karmakand portions of the Vedas. They do not want anything more than sense gratificatory proposals for enjoying life in heaven, where wine and women are available and material opulence is very common. In the Vedas, many sacrifices are recommended for elevation to the heavenly planets, especially the Jyotishtoma sacrifices. In fact, it is stated that anyone desiring elevation to heavenly planets must perform these sacrifices. And men with a poor fund of knowledge think that this is the whole purpose of the Vedic wisdom. It is very difficult for such inexperienced persons to be situated in the determined action of Krishna consciousness. As fools are attached to the flowers of poisonous trees without knowing the results of such attractions, unenlightened men are similarly attracted by such heavenly opulence and sense enjoyment thereof. In the Karmakand section of the Vedas, it is said, Apama somam amrita abhuma and akshayam ha vai chaturmasya yajinaha sukritam bhavati. In other words, those who perform the 4-month penances become eligible to drink the somaras beverages to become immortal and happy forever. Even on this earth, there are some Even on this earth, some are very eager to have somaras to become strong and fit to enjoy sense gratifications. Such persons have no faith in liberation from material bondage, and they are very much attached to the pompous ceremonies of Vedic sacrifices. They are generally sensual, and they do not want anything other than the heavenly pleasures of life. It is understood that there are gardens called Nandanakanan, in which there is good opportunity for association with angelic, beautiful women and having a profuse supply of somaras wine. Such bodily happiness is certainly sensual. Therefore, there are those who are purely attached to such material temporary happiness as lords of the material world. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadameham Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Lalita Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shradhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranmami Hari Priye Nama Om Vishnupadaya Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti-vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vishtaya Bhutle Shrimati Radhanath Swamini Namine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vishtaya Bhutle Shrimati Bhakti-Vedanta Swamini Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharini Nirvisheshunyavadi Paschatadeshta. So what we will try to do now is go part by part through the purport and see how much we can cover. This verse is very well known to everybody, and even for us as devotees, it's important for us to understand what is being shared here by Srila Prabhupada and how he is making us aware of what those who are not devotees, what they get attracted to. So I was wondering, I don't know about the time, how the time will go, but maybe I'll just do a little connection with the previous verses, if you like, so we understand what the first chapter is about. It's observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and Arjun has seen the whole army, he's seeing his family members, and he's so perplexed because seeing them he's feeling that he just doesn't want to fight. It's not going to be worth his while to do this war. So he totally gives up the desire to fight, and he begins to give his reasons. Then the second chapter starts, which is contents of the Gita summarized. And I'll need to look on my notes for this. The initial verses, Arjuna is still presenting his doubts. And eventually then he says to Krishna, I don't want to have a friend relationship with you for now. I just want you to be my master, and I want you to guide me as what I should do now, because I'm feeling so perplexed. I don't know what I should do. So he becomes as Krishna's disciple. So that's like verses 1 to 10, and then 11 to 30. Krishna is presenting the Sankhya philosophy. He's giving an analytical study about spirit and matter, because he somehow, he's explaining the temporality of the body versus the eternality of the soul, so that Arjun doesn't hesitate. It's so difficult to speak with glasses, and I've never had to do this, so it's a bit of a juggle. Let's see. Maybe I move this out as well a little bit. Okay. So he's explaining the temporality of the body and the eternality of the soul, so that Arjun doesn't feel hesitant to fight. So even if they're going to get killed, still, there's no loss done, because the soul is eternal. Then after that, Krishna goes into speaking about Karmakand, which is 31 to 38, which means fruitive activities. So we'll get into that, because that's what this verse is about. And 39 to 53, which is where our verse kind of lies, Krishna is explaining the art of work. So, which means he's explaining Karma Yoga. So he's trying to help Arjun understand. Arjun doesn't need to understand anything, actually. We know he's representing us. So this all is happening so that we can understand. So he's explaining how to work for Krishna as duty. Do your duty without the desire for the fruits of action. And okay, and then further on like this, then the chapter progresses. So it was interesting how Krishna, in the translation, I wanted to go to that, and I'll try to speak maybe fast but distinct, so I can cover whatever I came prepared with, my little humble endeavor. He says flowery words. He says, men of small knowledge, which means the unintelligent men, they are very attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive actions. So I was thinking, why did he use the word flowery? Because flowery is something, it's beautiful, it's fragrant, it's attractive. So like that, the Vedas are also divided into 3 sections, actually. There is the Karmakand, and the Jnanakand, and the Upasnakand. Am I right? That's right, isn't it? These are the 3 sections. So the Karmakand actually makes up for the majority part of the Vedas. And the rest of the section is the Gyan Kand and the Upasana Kand. Upasana Kand being bhakti, basically. Upasana meaning worship. So it's very easy to get attracted to, and this Gyan, the Karma Kand section is offering you these fruits, you know. After flowers we have fruits. So the Karma Kand is offering something really attractive. You know, it's instant. Well, not instant, but you are getting some fruits. So I thought that Krishna is using this word flowery because it's quite attractive. Whereas if you think about, somebody could argue that, oh, Gyan, it requires a lot of hard work. You have to, you know, do so much study, etc. And bhakti-yoga also could be considered because there's so many rules and regulations, but we'll come about that. There's not so many in comparison. So I'm going to talk about a little bit about the Jyotishtoma as well, which was interesting for me. Now these people, they are just desirous of sense gratification. That is their only aim. So where are they going? They're going to that part of the Vedas which is providing that, which is satisfying their need. And so before that, I mean, on the verse 37, while Krishna is going through all of this, because Arjun, like we understand, is feeling dejected, he doesn't want to fight, right? I'll see if I can do this without the glasses. So Arjun doesn't want to fight. So in verse 37, Krishna says to Arjun, O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. So therefore, get up with determination and fight. So Krishna is using this idea of material enjoyment. He's using this idea with Arjun of material enjoyment in order to motivate Arjun, who is feeling not so keen on fighting. He's trying to motivate him because he just wants to get him to somehow agree to fight. But in this verse, in contradiction to that, now Krishna is saying he doesn't want him to do this. So first he's mentioned about Karma Kand, saying that, you know, you're going to enjoy yourself. So that's Karma Kand basically. You'll go to the heavenly planets, which we understand in this verse is where people who are following the Karma Kand will go. They'll go to the heavenly planets where they can have a lot of sense enjoyment. But now in this verse he's saying, he's wanting Arjun to give up this mentality of Karma Kand, because all the reasons that Arjun had given initially were, I don't want to fight because there's going to be Varn Sankara who's going to do the, you know, the rituals for the Pitris, and then, you know, how will I enjoy without family? So it was all about enjoyment. So Krishna is trying to now tell him, now you go beyond that as well. Because in the whole of Gita, Krishna is basically taking Arjun and us through the yoga ladder. The first rung being Karma Kand, then Jnana Kand, and then Jnana Kand, and then yeah, then in Karma Kand there is also Nishkam Karma Yoga and Sakam Karma Yoga. So like that, he's slowly, it slips my mind, there is Karma Kand, then there's Jnana Kand, and then I think there is then he goes to Dhyan Yoga, and then slowly he will come to Bhakti Yoga. Okay. So now coming to the purport. So that's like a little background, if that was of any help. So Prabhupada is saying, people in general are not very intelligent, and due to their ignorance, they are most attached to the fruitive activities recommended in the Karma Kand portions of the Vedas. So just from that line alone, Prabhupada has mentioned two things. One, that they're not very intelligent, and due to not being intelligent, they are ignorant, right? And therefore, they are attracted to this section of the Vedas, which means we can also maybe check ourselves and see how much of whatever we are doing is about us and how much of it is about serving and pleasing Krishna. That means we are also, if we are attached to fruitive activities, that does mean that we are unintelligent and we are ignorant, actually. I think that can be derived from this as well. So they do not want anything more than sense gratificatory proposals. Their only desire is sense gratification. And how do they think they can have sense gratification? By women and wine. In the West, this is very common. I'm from England, and I was working there, and on a Friday night, the countdown already begins that now, we can go to the pub, and we can drink, and then we can enjoy, and then whatever else, they want to do. So this idea of gratifying the senses is very prominent in unintelligent people, and I'll come to that even we are trying to gratify our senses, even as devotees, but it's in a very different way. So then Prabhupada says that in the Vedas, many sacrifices are recommended for elevation to the heavenly planets, especially the Jyotishtoma sacrifices. Now, I've heard this word many times since we've been studying the Gita, but I never got into trying to understand what the Jyotishtoma sacrifice really means. So this led me to do some little research on the internet, and I just want to share that with you, so just bear with me. And it's a little bit detailed what happens in the Jyotishtoma. So basically this Jyotishtoma sacrifices, there are a group of rituals. And it translates to Lord of Light, L-A-U-D of light. And in these sacrifices, what is of importance is Agni and Soma. They have central importance. And Agni, okay, so this Jyotishtoma, it's the simplest ritual unit in which 3 Vedas are being used, the Rig Veda, Sama Veda, and Yajur Veda. Now the Rig Veda, the first mantra of the Rig Veda helps ignite fire, which is necessary for the sacrifice. And this sacrifice, the Jyotishtoma sacrifice, goes on for 5 to 6 days. So the person who is the sacrificer, who is doing the sacrifice, he will in his home light this fire, and then he will carry this fire with 16 other priests, and they will take this fire to the place where the sacrifice is going to take place. So he lights it up in the house, and then they go to this place. Okay. Now these 3 Vedas are there, and for each Veda there is a specialist priest, and he chants specific mantras. And each priest has 2 to 3 assistants with him. So that's already quite a few people. There are 16 priests, and each one of them have 2 to 3, and they have to pay dakshina to each one of them to have this. So it's already an expensive affair. And then on top of that, there is a 4th. So for each of the Vedas, there are these 3 priests, and there is another 4th priest who is like a supervisor. They cannot do any of the priests cannot do any, they have to get explicit permission from this priest if they want to start any crucial part of the sacrifice. And then he should also know how to make corrections. So like some little detail, just to get an idea, because Prabhupada has mentioned this, so I thought it was relevant to find out what exactly it is. And then you have a witness. So for 5-6 days, this sacrifice will go on. And on the first day, what will happen, and the sacrificer and his wife, they will undergo an important transformation. So on the first day of the sacrifice, the main person, he will shave up, and his food will be restricted. And this was a little new and interesting. He has to keep his hands like this. So if you type this up on Google, Jyotishtoma, you will see a picture where he's actually sitting with his fists like this. And this indicates an embryonic status, apparently. And the wife has less restrictions to follow, but she has to sit like this. And then once the sacrifice is done, I don't know what exactly they do in the sacrifice, but a lot of mantras are chanted. The Rig Ved priest will do his mantras, and the Yajur Ved will check on the mantras, and then there is another one checking on the corrections of everything, and he's monitoring the whole thing. So it's quite detailed. Then they go through a concluding bath, which is called Avabhrita, and then it is as if when they come out of that bath, they are reborn. And then I guess after that, the purpose of the sacrifice, I'm sure, is probably fulfilled, which is, what is the purpose of the Jyotishtoma sacrifice? To drink somaras, so that? For sense enjoyment, because their only goal is sense gratification. So all of this is being done for that. So we'll come to the Somaras in a minute. Now, further on, I don't know if somebody can go down. Prabhuji, can you go down on the purport? Can you move down on where the purport is? Okay. I mean, if everybody wants to see. So then Prabhupada says, in fact, it is stated that anyone desiring elevation to the heavenly planets must perform these sacrifices. And when with a poor fund of knowledge think that this is the whole purpose of the Vedic wisdom. So we've already touched on that people think that this is the only goal. I was wondering, is it because the bulk of the Vedas are karmakan? But it's also to do with lack of intelligence. It is very difficult for such inexperienced persons to be, and not just that actually. In the Gita, there is that verse, I forget which number it is. It says that majority of the people, they are interested in sense gratification, and it's very rare who's going to come to Krishna. You know, Vasudevam Sarvatim, what is it? Vasudevam Sarvam iti sa Mahatma Sudarlabha. Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prapadyante. Vasudevam Sarvam iti sa Mahatma Sudarlabha. So it's very rare that somebody will come to Krishna and want to serve him and get to know him and love him and perform devotional service. So unfortunately, majority of the people are on the other side. Then Prabhupada says it's very difficult for such inexperienced persons to be situated in the determined action of Krishna consciousness. Well, if you're going to do so much sense gratification, and actually the next verse confirms this, I'll just try and go to the next verse, which is 44. And in the translation it is said, in the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, which is what this verse is about, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. So it's practically impossible for them. I mean, we as devotees also, we have our 4 regulative principles in which there is no intoxication, no meat eating, no gambling, and no illicit relationships. Because these things, they divert your mind. We don't even take onion and garlic because they disturb the sattvic nature of the mind. So they act as impediments. So the more we are engrossed in sense gratification, the further away we go from Krishna. Okay, now as fools are attached, I'm moving on in the purport. As fools are attached to the flowers of poisonous trees without knowing the results of such attractions, unenlightened men are similarly attracted by such heavenly opulence and the sense enjoyment thereof. So, the unenlightened men are the ones who are attracted to this. And unenlightened, I was trying to unpack that. What does that really mean? Unenlightened means no light, which means no knowledge. What's that thing, quote on top of the Back to Godhead, which talks about this? Anybody remembers? Kasturika Mataji? Darkness is nescience. And where there is something like that. So it's talking about darkness being nescience, which means ignorance. So when there is lack of knowledge, that means we're ignorant. Once we get knowledge, then we're not ignorant anymore. But then if we don't apply that knowledge, then we're really foolish. So that's something to think about, that what are we doing with the knowledge that we have? And now if you don't have knowledge, then you cannot discriminate what is good and what is bad. So these people, they don't have knowledge, therefore they are ignorant, and therefore they're not able to decide what is good for them and what is bad, and they think this is it. Just enjoying our senses through the process of karmakand is the best thing. I mean, they are better than those who are not following karmakand and they are just into sense gratification, because that sort of sense gratification will take them down to hellish regions. But those who are following karmakand, that is their little connection. That's the first step of the ladder, of the yoga ladder. So that is connecting them to Krishna in a very indirect way. They're not doing anything for the pleasure of Krishna. It's connecting them to Krishna in an indirect way. Anybody can say why? Because they're following the Vedas, and the Vedas are coming from Krishna. Vedascha sarver aham eva vedya. So Krishna is the one from whom the Vedas are coming, and he is the one who is to be known from the Vedas. So just by dint of doing that, that makes them take that first step of the yoga ladder. And after many, many, many lifetimes of maybe enjoying just this way of following karmakand section of the Vedas, and though they're doing sense gratification, they will slowly be elevated, but it will take many lifetimes. Okay, so this just made me look into Veda base, and in Bhagavatam 11th canto in the 5th chapter, the summary talks about different types of people who are inimical to the worship of Lord Hari and who are unable to control their senses and are not peaceful. So I'll just quickly read the translation from the 11th canto, 5th chapter, 5th verse, and this translation is, on the other hand, Brahmanas, members of the royal order and Vaishyas, even after being allowed to approach the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord Hari by receiving the second birth of Vedic initiation, can become bewildered and adopt various materialistic philosophies. Okay, I'm going to skip into a certain section of the purport so this section of the purport is saying, well, it says, within the Vedic system, Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas, as mentioned in this verse, are all offered initiation into the Gayatri mantra and are considered twice born or highly civilized men. By studying Vedic literature, chanting Vedic mantras, executing ritualistic ceremonies, and worshipping the spiritual master and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, such persons gradually come near to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. Very nice. They're getting closer to Krishna's lotus feet. If one in such an exalted position becomes proud of his status, so this was the point to really hear. If one in such an exalted position, they're Brahmins, they're following very nicely, they're doing everything perfectly, they're chanting the mantras, but if they become if they are proud of his status or fascinated by the heavenly material enjoyment that is undoubtedly available to the followers of Varnashram system, then one so bewildered returns to the illusory material platform of birth and death. Even the highly posted demigods become victims of Maya's enticement, as described in this verse. So you could be at such a high position, doing everything very nicely, but this pride can just ruin everything. That's what I understood. And the pride, because they're proud of their status, Prabhupada is talking about the Varnashram, and they become proud, and then slowly, they will become fascinated, because they'll get bewildered. They'll get fascinated to heavenly material enjoyment. Then Prabhupada further says, in order to justify the illusory desire to enjoy dead matter, such foolish persons condemn themselves by minimizing the necessity of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead and falsely try to give equal importance to the Karmakand section of the Vedas, which awards heavenly sense gratification in exchange for the performance of prescribed ritualistic ceremonies. So suddenly they've just shifted. Their focus has shifted from worshipping Krishna to becoming proud, and then they're getting attracted to material things, and now they're giving karmakand more importance. It's kind of shocking. But this can happen, so Prabhupada's alarming us. So the significant point in this verse, Prabhupada says, is that such bewildered materialists who have become attracted to the materialistic portion of the Vedas. Our verse is about that, this verse. So they desire to do what? They ignore the supreme proprietorship of the personality of Godhead, who is the supreme enjoyer, bhoktaram yagyatapasam. Then at the same time, they wish to persevere their exalted status as followers of the Vedic principles. So they're ignoring Krishna, they're going into sense enjoyment, and they maintain, we're Brahmins, we're this, we're that, we're follower of the Vedas. And then further Prabhupada is saying that they amount to little more than polished atheists. Atheists don't believe in God. Now these are very well educated, they know the Vedas, they know the scriptures, they're doing everything, but now they're just slowly slipping down, and they are reducing themselves to nothing better than polished atheists. Which means, I think, they're atheists, they don't believe because they've cited Krishna now. But they can speak all the hi-fi stuff from the Vedas, I guess. And such persons, and such persons inevitably fall from their position into a degraded condition of life. It's one's ultimate duty to oneself, svarthagati. It's our purpose. It's our duty to ourselves and to the personality of Godhead to give up all materialistic activities characterized by karma and jnana, and surrender fully to the lotus feet of Krishna. That is what our duty really is. Okay, so that was that section from Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 5th chapter, 5th verse. So what we can understand from this is that we should not forget what the ultimate purpose of the Vedas is, which is to know Krishna. And when you know Krishna, what do? Yes, you surrender to him and then you engage in devotional service. But it's fascinating how most of the section of the Vedas is karmakan, because majority of the people are not. And then we spoke about Vasudevam Sarvamiti Mahatma Sudarlabha. So I was just trying to put things into perspective, that why is it like this? Okay, so moving on, I think we'll be okay with time. I'll speed up. Is this okay? I hope nobody's getting bored. Okay, so in the Karmakand section of the Vedas, I'm moving on in the purport of the verse that we are doing now. In the Karmakand section of the Vedas, it is said, Apam somam amrita abhuma and akshayam havai chaturmasya yajina sukritam bhavati. In other words, those who perform the 4-month penances become eligible to drink the somaras beverage to become immortal and happy forever. Okay, so let's get into this somaras, which we always hear. Indra loves this. He drinks loads of it. He gets intoxicated, and then he does some silly things. So this somaras, which is also what you get from the Jyotishtoma sacrifice, it's a celebrated, treasured, sacred beverage, actually, which is a beverage of the demigods in the heavens. So, and it was interesting when I was doing this little research about the Jyotishtoma sacrifice. On earthly planet also, during the Jyotishtoma sacrifice, they require the somaras. So this somaras is an extract of a very particular type of plant. Now you have to be qualified to be able to find the plant, the soma plant. And in the ancient texts, it has already been mentioned that you may not be able to find this soma plant. So what do you use in place of that on your earthly Jyotishtoma sacrifices? They've already written that out because they know it's not easily available. So in the Bhagavatam, in the 9th canto, in the 3rd chapter, this Jamuna Muni, he's he engaged the king Sharyati in performing the Soma Yagya and gave the Ashwini Kumars the privilege to drink the Somaras. I mean, it's such a celebrated drink that after doing the Soma Yagya, then the Ashwini Kumars were allowed to have part in that and enjoy that drink. And then Lord Indra became very angry at this, but he could not do any harm to Sharyati, and henceforth the Ashwini Kumar physicians were able to share in the somaras, they got their share afterwards. So everybody's after the somaras. Now this drink, it promotes longevity. It gives mental and bodily strength, because the verse talks about the somaras, and if it's consumed in large quantities, intoxication as well. And the Jyotishtoma little thing was saying that the soma juice trickling from the sieve, because you press the plant and now the soma juice is trickling down, is time and time again compared with rain falling from heaven. It's a little bit of a poetic way they have described the soma juice. Okay, so yeah, that was just an additional thing about the somaras. So when this Chaturmas verse that we spoke about, that they do penances for 4 months, for me instantly the thing that came to my mind was that we also do penances. We also have our Chaturmas, Vrat that we do. Everybody is looking for happiness and enjoyment, that's understood. But Prabhupada, who has also given us this Chaturmas Vrat, and why are they doing this penance? Because they want what? What do they want? Right, thank you. They want sense enjoyment. They want happiness, they want eternality, they want sense enjoyment. So Prabhupada has also given us that. He's given us this whole Krishna conscious process. And he has also given us these 4 months of, so to speak, tapasya, which is so easy to do. And everybody must do it. And in the first month you don't have green leafy vegetables. And in the second month you don't have, is it yogurt? And in the third you don't have milk. And in the fourth you don't have urad dal. I mean, it's nothing compared to their 4 months of sacrifices and penances. And what do we get? We also get eternality. We also get happiness. And I said this in the beginning that I'm going to bring it to the sense gratification part. And we also do get sense gratification. I mean, how much are our senses satisfied and rejuvenated and fulfilled and thrilled by Krishna consciousness? You just have to be in the kirtan and you cannot just sit but want to dance. We have this prasadam which is so nectarian. It not just satisfies our tongue, it fills the belly, but it nourishes our brain tissues, which can then enable us to understand higher subject matters. So we're getting intelligence as well. That was just a point from the Chaturmas. Okay, just a little bit more. Now then Prabhupada says that even on this earth, some are very eager to have the somaras. I mean, not only is the somaras available in the heavenly planets, it's a drink of the heavens, but some people are very eager to even have it on this earth, to become strong and fit to enjoy sense gratification. Such persons have no faith in liberation from material bondage, and they are very much attached to the pompous ceremonies of Vedic sacrifices. So it is the nature of the soul. It's made of Sat, Chit and Anand. So it is made of Anand. It is natural for us to want to enjoy. Nobody gets up in the morning to do activities which will give them grief. Even as devotees, we have such a joyous, pompous, celebratory process where we sing and dance right from the morning, you know. So what we're getting nourished. The difference is that their sense gratification will pull them down, because they're following karma kand. It will very, very slowly, after many, many lifetimes, bring them up, a little bit up. So that's like Prabhupada explains, there is the stairs and then you have the lift. What Prabhupada has given us is like the lift. You're all going to try to reach the same destination. So you can either choose to take the lift or you can take the stairs. So luckily we're on a good lift. So that made me think, actually, enough of condemning them. What do I do about this information that Prabhupada has given in this verse? I mean, does it affect me in any way? Am I supposed to do anything from this information that they are engrossed in sense gratification? Or we should just leave them to what they're doing? No. As devotees, as preachers, as followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as followers of Prabhupada, we should take this upon ourselves and understand that these people are ignorant. They don't know any better. We want to enjoy, they want to enjoy, but they don't know a better way of enjoying. They don't know a permanent way of enjoyment. So the onus is on us. It's our responsibility to try to enlighten them and share with them what we have. Is it not? Who agrees with this? Only one person. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so that's a good number, that we agree that we also have a responsibility. We have a part to play towards them. After all, somebody did it for us, right? If nobody would have shown us the way, we would have been doing just what they're doing. Maybe even worse, we wouldn't have known about the Karma Kand. I mean, these people know about the Karma Kand, right? So they don't know what real happiness is, and they don't know. They don't have any faith in liberation, so they don't know that real happiness can only be had by liberation from material bondage. They don't have faith in this liberation process from material bondage because they think in earth, karma kand, sense gratification, that's the all in all. But they don't understand that the real happiness can only actually be had when you're liberated from material bondage. And this comes for us automatically by being in Krishna consciousness and chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Simply by doing this, we're getting purified and we're elevating ourselves. So lastly, in the purport, they are generally sensual and they do not want anything other than the heavenly pleasures of life. It is understood that there are gardens called Nandana Kanan, in which there is a good opportunity for association with angelic, beautiful women and having a profuse supply of somaras wine. I thought Nandana Kanan must be some very nice, spiritual, sweet place. Such a sweet name, Nandana Kanan. You know, there could be like a bhajan on this beautiful word. Actually, this place is about sense enjoyment, beautiful women, and wine. So this wine is an intoxicant, and it's just making me think how desire for Nam, Labh, Puja, Pratishta is also an intoxicant. And we as devotees should very, very carefully steer away from that, and even any thoughts of that, and even any footsteps creeping up which are about that in our mind. The moment we hear, like we say in Hindi, ahat I, like you just sense that these thoughts are coming into me, that I want name, fame, adoration, then we should just we should quickly guard ourselves that no, I don't want this. This will poison my spiritual life. Because it's very easy for the thought to come in the mind and then for us to ride on the wave, and before you know, you're far away. So we should I'm just talking about myself, that, you know, it is important to have like guards in your head, you know. The moment you sense some thought coming, the guards should do their job. They should block. They shouldn't let it enter into the head. Because you could be in Krishna consciousness and getting intoxicated from all the position one is getting because of one's service or whatever. So that will take us away. Okay. So such bodily happiness is certainly sensual, and therefore there are those who are purely attached to such material temporary happiness as lords of the material nature. So they're totally sucked up into this sense gratification completely. So sensual means pertaining to the senses rather than the mind. And generally it means sexual pleasure. But Krishna consciousness also is giving us pleasure, not just to the mind and the senses, but to the soul as well. And it crosses all limits. I was thinking that this Krishna consciousness crosses all limits of material pleasure. No material pleasure can compare to this. And in the Shad Goswami Ashtakam, there is this line, you know, how they are expert in increasing the oceans, the limits of the ocean of transcendental bliss. And they are the saviors of the living entities from the devouring mouth of liberation. I mean, they don't want to have, they're not interested in liberation, and we know material liberation can free you, but the devotees don't even want that material liberation. I mean, you know, it means nothing to them, because they just seek pleasure in pleasing Krishna. And that's where all the happiness comes from. Anandam buddhi vardhaneka nipuno kevalya nishtarako vande roop sanatana raghuyugo Shri Jiva Gopalako. So, in conclusion, and this is the end, I'll relieve you of your torture. I was thinking how to conclude this. So if we go to the 8th chapter and 8th verse, in the translation, it's being summed up very nicely. Krishna says, a person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the results derived from studying the Vedas, performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all these, and at the end, he reaches the supreme eternal abode. So our goal is devotional service, and all pleasures and happiness will be ours because we're serving the source of all of this, who is Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for staying in the class and not running away. I'm really grateful to you for allowing me this opportunity to serve. Are there any questions or any corrections, Mataji? Or any comments? We can always depend on Prabhuji, Karbhajan Prabhu, for a question. I'm not sure if I'll be able to answer your question, but I'll try my best. Otherwise, seniors are here. It's okay, Prabhu, you can, I'll repeat your question in the mic. It's okay.
You see, in Bhagavad, Prabhupada has given us many things that we can understand from one purport when we concentrate on that purport. But when we are not concentrating, then we are thinking that I should take from here, I should take from here, I should take from here. So in this purport, Prabhupada is giving us everything that people are less intelligent. We are less intelligent, and that's why we cannot understand what we have to do. The purpose is that what Prabhupada has given us in each and every translation purport. If we concentrate on that one, we can understand what Prabhupada is saying.
Yes.
So we can present to the sun. But we are giving so many references from here and there. There's nothing wrong giving reference from here and there. But the reference which Prabhupada has given us, if we evaluate this sloka, we can speak more than 1 hour on this particular thing. So we should understand what Prabhupada has given us. So if we follow strictly what Prabhupada is giving, we listen to Prabhupada lectures also for the same lecture Prabhupada is giving. So if we understand what Prabhupada is giving us, then we can understand what Prabhupada is saying, that we are less intelligent because we don't have intelligence what we have to do. We are in Karma Kanda section and this section, we are running here and there. We don't understand what we have to do. Because we are confused with so many things we have in our mind. So we put the things in our mind, whatever is coming to our mind. So Prabhupada is giving us that you concentrate on particular thing what you want to say. When you say whatever the particular things, that is much better. And we are giving so many examples from this chapter, that chapter, this one, that one. It's correct, there's nothing wrong in giving this one.
Okay, so let me try and understand. So you're saying that, if I understand you correctly, that it's best to focus on the one purport rather than expanding from that. Thank you for that comment. But my little understanding is that everything Prabhupada has given us is actually interconnected. So, and if we're taking references from Prabhupada's Bhagavatam, not somewhere else, and Prabhupada's own Gita, and if it connects, it will maybe help us understand the connection between everything, actually, rather than just one standalone. This is my little understanding, but you're right, we could just focus on one and dive deep into it. That, I think both are true. I think it's, Prabhu's comment is that we don't have to give references to other parts of the scriptures. I slightly differ, in my humble opinion. I think it's okay to do that because it then expands our understanding of the subject matter. That's how I personally feel, but thank you for your comment. Anything else at all? Yes, Kasturika Mataji.
Thank you so much for the wonderful class. It was very inspiring to learn so many things out of this paper. One thing I was very much impressed, and that you said puja lava practice that is what we have to be guiding always, and we have to make sure the guides are always there. So, but sometimes we become so conscious of these anarthas, and then we forget the whole essence of Krishna. So how to have a balance that we guard these things at the same time we are more Krishna conscious? Like some tips.
So Mataji's question is for, just to speak it on the mic, that I mentioned that we should safeguard ourselves from any attraction to Nam, Lab, Puja and Pratishta. So how to strike a balance? If we focus just on that, then we will lose our focus from the actual thing that we're doing, which is maybe bringing us these feelings of attraction to Nam, Lab, Puja, Pratishta. So how to strike a balance? So your question, yeah, so this is your question, right? So
Balance between
being
being Krishna conscious,
Krishna conscious.
not so much of this conscious, but at the same time we have to be
So be safeguarding ourselves, but also still being Krishna conscious. So how do we strike a balance? That you still maintain your Krishna consciousness, but you still also protect yourself. Not that you just get sucked up, oh, I shouldn't do this and I shouldn't do that. Is that right? Okay, so this is very nice actually. When I joined in '94 in Bhaktivedanta Manor, there was one, when we do the prayers, then we're saying Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha. So we are praying to all the gurus, not just one, but Gurun is plural. So you just made me remember one of my, I could say, Shiksha gurus, and he was giving a class. His name is Sitaram Prabhu. And I was attending Bhagavad-Gita classes, and he once explained that how there is this insect called a centipede or a millipede who has many, many legs. Millipede, right? Has many legs. So your thing just reminded me of that. So he has many legs, and he's walking with all the legs, and he just walks comfortably, There's so many legs on one side and so many legs on the other side of his body. But he's walking comfortably, no problem. And then another insect is looking at him and he's getting a little envious and he's saying, dear millipede, can you tell me which foot do you put first and then which foot do you put next? So is it from your left side the 4th foot and then you put the 6th foot from the right side? Or is it the 100th foot from the right side and then, I don't know, the 1st foot from the left? Which one do you do? So I hope this is relevant. So then this millipede really begins to think, oh, I never thought about this, oh, what am I actually doing? And then he even forgets how to walk because he's so engrossed in checking his feet. So the reason I thought of this, these lights are very glaring, that I can't even see you properly. So the reason that this example came to my mind from your question is that we should just perform if our desire is sincere, if our motive is clear. I've understood this from all the gurus I know and from my Guru Maharaj, that we should be very conscientious of our motive. Whatever we are doing, even if it is sweeping the floor, it is cooking for the lordships, or it's writing books for for preaching or distributing books or serving in the management, whatever we are doing, or even cleaning the toilet. Here in India, we don't do that. In England, we would even clean the toilet. Devotees go down and they clean the public toilets, which are there for the visitors. So whatever we are doing, what is the motive behind it? So I think if the motive is right, and I don't know if this will answer your question, but if our motive is right, and we just follow the process that has been given to us with sincerity, with the purpose that it is meant for, which is to please our seniors, to please our gurus, to please Vaishnava, and then the whole parampara is pleased, and then Krishna will be pleased. We cannot please Krishna directly. Then I feel that yes, we should be aware of sickness and disease, and this is a sickness and disease. Then I think that Paramatma from within will guard us and help us, and he will do this thing about, if we have the desire to have the heart in the right place in our services, then Krishna, Paramatma from within, Chaitya Guru, from the heart, will help you remember, now you're just thinking a little differently from what you should be thinking. Somebody's praised you and you're like, yeah, I'm the doer, and he will make you think like this. From our own intelligence, if we could do anything, we would have done it long time ago, But it's because of the mercy of the gurus and Prabhupada that we are here, so we don't have that. But yes, the intelligence is getting purified by following bhakti, the process. So I would like to think that, all these things will come about. So that is what I have to say, to not get sucked up, but be aware. Just like we are living, we're not always thinking, oh my God, now the flu, I might get the flu, or I might get sick, and there are millions of diseases, so we don't just meditate on them, do we? So we don't need to meditate is what I mean to say. But at the same time, we try to be cautious. If, a little soreness comes in the throat, then we say, okay, now I'm not going to have any ice cream today. I'm not going to have something which is going to make it worse. So like that, if a little indication comes, because you want to be healthy, then we should address that, and that's enough. And Krishna will help us understand. That's my little understanding. I hope that helps. Does that answer your question? Is that okay? Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Nice question. So Prabhuji is saying that when we are chanting the Maha Mantra, then are we pleasing Krishna or ourselves? The goal of everything we do, right from bathing to getting up to bathing to coming to the temple, there is no other purpose than pleasing Krishna. I'm sure there's some verses about that where, if he's pleased, then everybody is pleased. So, chanting the Maha Mantra, yeah, it's a good point, because I could be chanting and then I'm getting seriously bored and I have no taste. Oh my God, do I want to do it anymore? I'd rather be getting onto something else that gives me pleasure, It could, whatever that is. It could be Facebook, or could be, whatever we seek our pleasure in. So, even if I don't get taste, I'm going to chant this mantra, Krishna, because that's what Prabhupada has told me, that's what the gurus have told me, and they have said I must do it, so I'm going to do it. It's my duty to do it. The verse said, Prabhupada said, it's our duty to surrender to Krishna and to please Krishna. So you and me know better. So whether it makes me happy or unhappy, the mother in the summer season will cook for her husband, for her child, out of love. Duty is higher than love. Love is higher than duty. She's doing it, and she is doing her duty out of love, actually. So yes, they're both. So now I may be, digressing from what you actually asked. So no, it's not for our pleasure. It is purely for Krishna's pleasure only. Idam mamama, you know. Na, it's for you, not for me. This is for you, now I'm doing this for you, now I'm doing this for you. Urmila Mataji says this a lot. So, like that, it's for Krishna's pleasure.
It's for Krishna's pleasure, but we say that we should chant purely. What is the difference between chanting purely and chanting regularly? Krishna discriminating those things?
Between pure chanting and
Offensively chanting.
offensive.
Offensively chanting.
Sorry?
Offensively chanting.
With offense. The difference between pure chanting and offensive chanting.
No, because Krishna is pleased whether if you chant purely or you chant offensively. Whether he is pleasing both or he is pleasing one.
Did you say that Krishna, you're saying that what is the difference between pure chanting and offensive chantings? Because Krishna is pleased even if you chant purely or offensively? I don't have that understanding actually. I don't think Krishna is, okay, so offensive, let's describe what offensive chanting is. If you mean inattentive chanting, do you mean inattentive chanting by offensive chanting? Or there are 10 offenses to the holy name, Krishna will not be pleased with any of them. I mean, if we are going to, the first offenses to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives to the propagation of the holy name of the Lord, Krishna will definitely not be happy with that. Yes, Krishna is Bhavgrahi Janardhan. So this kind of connects a little bit with what Mataji asked. If our motive is right, but we're struggling, but our motive is right, and we are endeavoring sincerely with the right motive, but we're struggling because we're conditioned for how many lifetimes, you know? So Krishna will see that and he will give us concession for the activities we may be doing out of conditioning. But if we're doing it purposely, we will start going downhill because Naam is Chintamani. Whatever you will ask from the holy name, it will fulfill. I heard once while I was in Bhaktivedanta Mana that Sarvabhauma Prabhu, a Prabhupada disciple, he gave this class and that alarmed me because he said that you could be chanting with ulterior motives and you are thinking that your bhakti kripa your bhakti lata is growing, but actually it's the weeds which are growing. So you could be chanting, but if you are not actively removing the weeds from your heart, you know, you're getting attached to all the wrong things, nam, puja, la, pratishta, etc., then those things will become stronger. And this is what I heard. And that the holy name you could be chanting for many years, put it this way, that you could be chanting for many, many years and no change is taking place. But when you are chanting and if our attentiveness is diverting, you bring it back. So chanting is like a straight line, you know. Sometimes, even I do this sometimes. Sometimes we can go like this, you know, like I want to just put my mind straight on the path of chanting, you know, but my mind is going here and is going there and is going here and is going there. And then from there it's gone further away and further away. And I've been chanting and I've been technically listening because the lips are moving, the ears are hearing. But where was my mind? Miles away. So you got to bring it back. So we have to be on guard. Has the mind gone? I got to bring it back. The mind's going here. Before it goes there, it just goes here. You bring it back. You bring it back. You bring it back. And then my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Radhanath Swami, was giving a lecture that maybe in the whole chanting, all you did was bring the mind back, bring the mind back, bring the mind back. And you maybe didn't get to actually chant, like, you know, your Krishna consciousness kind of thing, right? But Krishna is very pleased with that because he saw the endeavor that you were trying so hard because he's Bhavgrahi Janardhan. So he's happy with that. But if we think that we can chant and be offensive, that is a very dangerous area to go into. Strongly not recommended at all. Like, you know, you have a danger sign with a skull, and this is that. So, yeah, we have to be very, very careful. Does that answer your question, Prabhuji?
Thank you. Right answer. Yeah, 2 days back, someone gave the class. If you chant one time or Krishna, Krishna recognizes you. So I understand whenever you chant Hare Krishna, Krishna is always recognizing you.
With the right, yeah, sincerely, if we're chanting sincerely and as pure as we are able to.
The 2 days before
This is true. Yeah, this is another another aspect of it. That yes, Krishna sees that, but since we know better, if we just think I can do whatever and just chant and then it's okay, that is not okay. That's one of the offenses, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. So I'm totally, I think we're saying the same thing, but you're giving another perspective, that Krishna is pleased when you chant his name, knowingly or unknowingly. But for devotees who know the whole process, they know all the offenses, but if they think that I can do whatever, and Krishna is still going to be okay because he's happy if I even say Ra of Ram, and then that is maybe falling into committing sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. So Krishna knows where we are, what we can do and what we are doing and what we're not doing, because he's sitting in the heart. So like that.
When we are chanting Hare Krishna, we don't think we are chanting offensively or something and it's coming in our mind. We just keep on chanting. We don't stop chanting. The chanting is always going on.
Right.
We never think that we are chanting offensively, we are chanting purely. We don't think this one. But Krishna recognizes everything whatever we are doing.
Yeah. But we should think, so you're saying that when we're chanting, we don't think about these things, that whether we are chanting offensively or not, but the only thing we have to try and do in chanting is listen and be attentive. If we are inattentive, then all the other 10 offenses will follow. If we are attentive, then everything is okay. Then, no problem. I think we should end here now. Granth Srimad Bhagavad-Gita ki jai, Bhaktagan ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.